Hello soulmates, welcome. So in this video I'm going to be teaching us how to cut and sew this stylish gown. So if this is something you like, please stay tuned to the end of the video as I show you how to go about cutting and sewing it. So now this is what like the finished look looks like after sewing. I'm just giving you a glimpse of what it looks like. So now let's get right into the drafting parts. So guys, don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, comment, like and share. I'm going to be drafting the up part, which is the shoulder to the waist or shoulder to the backs. So I'm gone ahead to place the horizontal lines, just as you can see. You get your shoulder line, then your chest line, the bust points, the under bust, the waistline. So you can see I added extra inches below. That is for the backs effect. So now you are going to determine the length of the gown you want to work with. So in this case, I'm working with length 35 inches. So I'm just going to note the length down. I'm working with length of 35 inches. So next up, I'm going to go ahead to the shoulder line and place half of the shoulder measurement on the shoulder line and on the chest line. I'm going to go ahead and roll a straight line. So the basic neck width I'm working with is 3 inches, 1 inch for shoulder slope. So I'll go ahead and connect the points. So next up, I'm going to get the midpoint, come in by half of an inch. So I'm just going to be connecting the point and also connecting it to the chest line this way to get the armhole, just as you can see. So next up, I'm going to be placing half of the bust span. Just as you can see, you roll a straight line across this way. So remember that it has a backs effect. So I'm just going to be extending the waistline a little bit by 3 inches for the backs. So you also do the same as well. Roll a straight line across. Then you extend your nipple to nipple measurement on that line. Then you go ahead and connect it this way. So for the under bust contouring, I'm using 0.75 on both sides. So you mark it on the bust point and on the new backs line. Do you understand? So you go ahead and roll a straight line. So your under bust contouring can be more if you're on the bigger size of the bust. So you go ahead and connect it to the bust point this way, just as you can see. Next up, I'm going to be placing quarter of the bust measurements on the chest line. So should in case that you did a waist snatching, so you can just remove your waist snatching from your actual waist, divide it by 4. Then you place it on the waistline. Then you also replace the dart. But if you are not doing waist snatching, just place your actual waist measurement divided by 4, then plus the dart intake. So you go ahead and connect the points this way. So now we're going to go ahead and close up this dart line so that you can get the backs effect. Just make sure you close up the dart this way. So now you determine how you want the backs to be. Do you want it straight or a little bit slanted or curvy? So in this case, I want it a little bit slanted, curvy I mean. So that's why I'm using the part of this ruler this way, just as you can see. So next up, I'm going to be placing the bust dart. This is the difference between the front and back waistline. So you connect it to the bust point. So I'm going to get the midpoint of the shoulder, as you can see. Then I'll connect it to the bust point as well, this way. So next up, you are going to determine how high you want your chest line to be. That's how much of chest you want to show around your over bust. So in this case, I marked about 1.5 inches across the chest line. So I wrote a straight line across. So I'm just going to label the pattern. So the dart intake on the center front, I used 0.75. Then by the side, I used 0.5. So I'm going to go ahead and connect it to the bust point this way, just as you can see. So next up, you are going to measure the dart leg that is more. The center front dart leg is a less, so I'm going to be placing it on the side front dart leg, then connect it to the armhole. It's either you close the dart, then you connect it to the armhole, whichever one works for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect it to the armhole this way, just as you can see. Just connect it to the armhole this way. Around the center front, there's an opening. So yeah, you need to determine how wide the opening should be. You need to be careful about that so that it doesn't get too wide. So in this case, I use 0.75. So I came down by 1.75. So you just need to be careful But if you want it to be very revealing, so you can do that as well. So I'm just going to be connecting this point this way, just as you can see. So there's a collar around that part as well. So now I'm just going to use this paper to explain. We'll use this paper for the collar. So the width of this collar is 2 inches. Yours can be 2.5 inches. You understand? So now it's going to be placed at this point after that opening. So now I'm just going to place it back this way. So I'm going to be taking off that 0.75 so that the shape can align. You get? So I'm just going to go ahead and mark the 0.75 wearing a slanted line. So I'm going to use my scissors to take that part off. So you can see when I place it this way, this is what it looks like. Bear in mind that this collar is just a guide, and when you are using this collar, you are going to be cutting this collar in bias form. So I didn't determine the length. Let's just say I have about 9 inches in length though, or 10 inches. So now this is a gown that has strap. So on that second dart leg that I pointed at, just measure what you have from your shoulder line to that point. So at that point I had about 6.5 inches. So I'm just going to note 6.5 inches down, because you'll be adding the front and back straps together, do you understand, at the point of cutting. So I just noted that down. So now let's move to the back. So for the back, I already mark on the shoulder line, the chest line, the waistline. The front and back waistline, they are different. Do you understand? So whatever you have, you place it. You place the measurement you have. So next up, I'm going to go ahead and place quarter of the shoulder measurement on the shoulder line and on the chest line. I'm going to rule a straight line across this way. The basic neck width I am working with is 3 inches and 1 inch for shoulder slope. Just go ahead and connect the points. So just go ahead and get the midpoint, come in by half of an inch, connect it to the shoulder from that point, and also connect it to the chest line this way, just to get your armhole. Connect it to get your armhole this way. I'm going to go ahead and place quarter of the bust measurement on the chest line and quarter of your waist measurement, your actual waist before or after snatch, whatever you use for the front pattern, you use for the back pattern as well. So you go ahead and connect the points this way, just as you can see. So there's an opening at the back. So for the opening on the chest line, I mark 1.5 inches, and on the waistline, I mark 1.5 inches. So there's an opening and there's a lacing. So I'm just going to be indicating this part as like the lacing part. Do you understand? That part will be cut off. If you don't want your chest line, your back being straight like this, you can just come down below the chest line by 0.75. Just as you can see, then you connect the points this way. If you don't want it to be straight, so you can just have a slant effect around the back, you can do this. But if you want to maintain a straight line, you can maintain a straight line. I'm going to go to the front. Around that place there, I marked that 6.5 inches. You can see that point. I marked 6.5 inches. You can see what I mark. I'm just going to note that point down. So whatever I measure, I'm going to measure it at the back shoulder line. This is just a guide. Then you can see I slanted my line to the chest line. You can see. So whatever you have there, just note it down. Just note it down. Do you understand? This is just a guide. I just don't want to assume random figures, so that's why I'm doing this. So around the chest line, you might want to replace what you have there by the side. You might want to replace it. So I just took one of the dart leg that is there. Whatever I had on one of the dart leg is what I replaced. So I'm just going to go ahead and blend it this way. So I'm just going to extend the bust dart line, just as you can see. So now I want to explain something here around the back's effect. So now you might not want the back's effect to start directly on the waistline. So if you want it to not start directly on the waistline, you can come down from the waistline by 1.5 inches or 2 inches. When you come down, then you now mark the back's waistline at the center front, then you connect it to the waistline. So since you came down by 1.5 or 2 inches by this waistline at the front, you also do the same for the back as well. You come down by 1.5 inches or 2 inches. Do you understand? So that everything can align well by the time that you are sewing. So now we are going to go ahead and cut. So carefully cut out your pattern this way, just as you can see. just carefully cut out your pattern. So when you get to this part, make sure you open up your bust start, not open it entirely, but open it in a point that you can close it, then you shape the excess by the side. So if it has a pointing effect, you can shape it just as you can see. So now this will be the collar, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut out the back piece as well. So just as you can see, this is what we have. So I'm just going to be dividing the back piece into two. So this is because I want to add a modesty panel at the back, so for covering, so that my body will not be exposed. Do you understand? So this is what we have for the patterns. So for the center front, you are going to be cutting on fold. For the side front, the side back, center back, you are going to be cutting two pieces each. And you might also cut lining for it as well. You cut lining for it. Do you understand? You cut lining for it. So it depends on what you want to do. You get? So this is the pattern that we'll be needing. So now let's move on to the sewing tutorial. So now I have about 3 yards of this fabric. I have about 3 yards. Then the pattern paper that you'll be needing. So this is your pattern paper. So you also need backup, but I don't have backup. You will need backup for the bust area. You need your chalk, your ruler, your scissors, your tape rule, your pins, your sewing machine, and also lining if you have, because I'll be adding lining to the lower part. So now I've gone ahead to cut. So now for the center front, I have about 2 pieces. You can see. So I'm using the material for the lining at the upper part. So I have about 2 pieces. So I added 0.5 inches all around. So for the side front, I have about 4 pieces as well. 4 pieces. So around that point where my hand is, I added 0.5 inches, and around the waistline 0.5, but by the side I added 1 inch for sewing allowance. So now this is the back. So at that point I added 1 inch. Then the side and the shoulder and the bottom I added 0.5 inches. I also have 4 pieces for it. So for this one also, I also have 4 pieces. Then I added 0.5 inches all around it. So now I have this strap. So this strap is 3 inches in width. So this is what we'll be using for the shoulder. It's 3 inches in width. We'll be using this for the shoulder to determine how long yours is. So now I also have about another strap. I have it as 1 inches in width. So this is what I'll be using for the loop at the back, and also for the rope at the back. So it's 1 inches in width. So I have it long enough. Remember I said I want to add modesty panel to the back. So this is what I'll be using for the modesty panel. I'm still going to reduce it and also iron stay to it to give it firmness. So now once you have removed your half length from the full length, this is what you have. So what I have here is about 18 or 20 inches in length. So yes, so the width I have it in 3 yards. So what I have for my 3 yards is what is the length. So this is the collar. I have about 4 pieces, and I also ironed stay to it. I added 0.5 inches all around. So this is the lining as well, about lining. So bear in mind that the lining will be shorter than the actual fabric that you want to add to the lower part. You get? So the lining will be shorter. I'm gonna add to take off the pins. So I already notched the bust point of the center front and the side front, the both side, and also the lining. Remember that I'm using the actual fabric as the lining. So I'm just pinning where I am going to sew. So I'm going to be sewing around that part by 0.5 inches, same as the lining. So here I am going to be sewing the collar. I'm just going to be sewing from that. I'm not sewing the top, just the bottom part and that slanted part on both sides for the 2 collars, I mean. So here I am going to be stitching this by maybe 0.25 or half of an inch all the way down. This is for the rope though. This is for the rope. So remember I said I'll be adding like a modesty panel to the center back. But yeah, I was using 6 inches. I was meant to use like more, probably about 8 inches. probably about 8 inches, but this sort of affect the modesty panel, so because it was looking short by the time I was done. So then I tried to reduce the length so that it can fit it to the middle of the center back and side back. So this is what it looks like after joining. So you can add the bra cup at the bust area. You can add the bra cup here at the bust area just for fitting, but I did not have a bra cup. So I've also joined the collar as well, the two collar and the ropes. I've joined the rope as well. Remember at the point of drafting, I told you to take note of the rope at the front and at the back. So I had about 6.5 for the front and 8.5 for the back. So in total, that will give me about 15 inches. So now I'm just going to be cutting exactly 15 inches for the two sides. I'm not going to be adding half of an inch on both sides for sewing. I'm just going to cut exact 15 inches. This is so that it's going to be firm. This is for firmness. So I've gone ahead to cut the two ropes as seen. We are going to be attaching the collar to the center front. We are going to be attaching it after 0.5 inches of that V neckline. So you just use your pin to hold it. Then you'll be adding the rope. You can see you'll be adding the rope after that stitching. Like after that stitching, maybe half of an inch after that stitching, just attach it. Then do that for the other side as well. So now you take the lining, you place it this way. This is like right side facing right side. So you're just going to go ahead and sew all around by 0.5 inches. So I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and sew it. So by the time I was done sewing, this is what I have. So I'm just going to cut excess of the collar. Make sure you also notch around and also iron it. I've ironed it already and I've also notched. That's why it's sitting perfectly. So now this is the back. So now that's the modesty panel there, but it's very small. So now this is me separating the back piece. So I'm using one part for the lining. Do you understand? So I'm just going to be attaching one part of the modesty panel on the bigger side of the back pattern. So I'll take off the pins for the center back. You can see the way I'm doing it. Just use your pin to hold. Make sure that there's 0.5 inches above it and also below it. So that means you're not going to be stitching the modesty panel down. Do you understand? So you also do the same for this side as well. Use your pins to hold it and do the same for the other part as well. Go ahead and use your pin to so you're going to be sewing by 0.5 inches. Do you understand? So this is what you have after sewing by 0.5 inches. You can see what we have. So now I'm trying to explain that this thing is shorter. I'm supposed to like make it a little bit longer. That's the modesty panel. So I'm going to be placing right side facing right side on one part, then right side facing right side on the other part. So this is the back. So before sewing, now because it has this eyelet this loop, so I already have this rope. You just go ahead and sew your rope already. I already sew the rope. So I already sewed the rope. So this is what we have for the rope. Then I'm going to be marking the point. I'll be fixing the ropes. I'm going to be marking the points. So I'm going to be starting half of an inch. I'm going to be starting from half of an inch because I'm going to be joining that part. So the difference between the ropes, the lines are 1.25. So I'm going to do the same for the other side as well. If you have not liked this video at this point, please kindly do so. Please also subscribe, comment, like and share. So now this is the rope. So you might just want to cut it maybe like 1.5 inches. So I'm just cutting so that it will just be easy. I'm not doing so much. So I'm just going to fold it into two. Then I'll place it after that 0.5 inches on that line that I marked. So I'm just going to be sewing it all around straight down. So after sewing it, then I'll now close off this part by 0.5 inches. Do you understand? So this is what the loops look like while sewing. When I was done sewing it, this is what it looks like. Just trying to show you what it looks like. So after sewing, I already closed the back as well. What I mean by already close the back, I already used the lining to close the back. You can see me, this is me opening to show you. So now we're going to be sewing around the chest line. That's the chest line for the back. So now before sewing, you are going to be fixing our rope for the front. So you need to carefully arrange it. So now I'm going to be placing it 1 inch after the joining part at the center back. You place it on one side of the fabric, not the two side. Place it on one side so that it will be easy for you to sew. So whatever I did for the other side, I'm doing it for this side as well. I'm just going to turn it this way, then use my pin to hold it. So I'm just going to be sewing around that part by 0.5 inches. So this is what it looks like after joining it. You can see the rope, and I've already made sure that I ironed it. This is what it looks like. So next up, I'm going to be doing inseam finishing. So you might just want to join your own by the side straight up, or I just want to close it by the side. So now I'm going to open the front this way, the front side of the front this way, then I open the side of the back this way, making sure that the joining around that chest line is meeting both sides, is aligning. Then I'm just going to sew 1 inch that I added for sewing allowance. I'm going to sew it on both sides. So this is what it looks like after sewing. You can see that there's no visible stitching that is outside. Everything, I've closed it up. But in case you are not doing this, you just want to do your normal this to make sure that you interlock or you weave it. So this is what we have. So now I'm going to get the midpoint of the upper part. Get the midpoint this way. So now the fabric you want to the fabric you want to use for the bottom part, you also get the midpoint, like the center of it. Get the center of your fabric. Just get the center. You can see the way I'm folding the fabric just to get the center. Then you notch it, and you notch it, and you can also fold it again into 4. Then you notch it again. That it will be easy for you to sew. So now remember that when we're drafting, we took about 1 inch, 1.5 inches away from the center back. So you are going to be replacing that part of it on the waistline, that 1.5 inches on the waistline. So you are going to be placing that 1.5 inches on the waistline. Do you understand? So now, how do you do that? You just take your tape rule. You can see where my tape rule is. So now you are going to be having enough fabric on that 1.5 inches plus 1 inch for zipper allowance. So so it will be like sort of like an extension. So I'm going to go to my sewing machine and sew. So this is what it looks like after sewing. So this is what it looks like after. So you can see there's like an extension around that part. That's the part I'm talking about. The 1.5 inches, then the 1 inch for zipper allowance. So that's like an extension. So I'm adding lining. So I'm just going to be using the lining to cover it. You understand? I'm using the lining to cover it. So in case you are using interlocking, maybe you are not using line, just use your interlocking. Then you top stitch around that center back, around the waistline for the bottom part. Do you understand? So remember I said the lining will be shorter than the actual fabric for the bottom part. So I'm going to turn it this way. So this is how you sew it around the waistline this way. You place it this way, then you sew around the waistline. So the the width of the lining depends on what you want. Do you understand? It actually depends on what you want to do. So you just sew it all around the waistline. Just give it a neat finishing. So this is what we have. When I say neat finishing, you can see there's no visible place that is showing that you are stitching that part. So you can see this part that I said you should leave about 2.5 inches. You can see it. That is what it looks like. You can see I've also ironed it. So next up, I'm just going to be closing up those two parts, joining them together. I'm going to be sewing 1 inch for the zipper allowance all the way down, and I've also hemmed it around the bottom. So I'm going to add the zip, and also wear it to show you what it looks like. Guys, this is what the finished result looks like. You can see the back. So the modesty panel, I just choked it inside. I'll figure I'm going to add more length to it later on. So you can see the v-neck is not so much. You can see what it looks like at the back. So guys, if you've not liked this video at this point, please kindly do so. Don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, comment, like and share. So we have come to the end of this tutorial. See you in the next video.